Debbie, if you were to lose your child benefit, you've got 3 children, how much would that be a year?
It would be over £1,200 a year, and that's an estimate. It's a big chunk of my income that I do rely on. It pays my bills, or it just stops me asking my husband for money all the time. I can do a little bit what I want to do with that bit of money, and it's not affecting anybody.
Can you name a few examples of things you pay with that money?
Yeah, I pay my car insurance with that money, and I also get the children's school shoes with it because they grow so quickly. And I like every couple of months we go and we get our feet measured, and I can go and without it bothering anyone to go and buy the children a decent pair of shoes each, or bits of uniform as well.
Now, people who earn more than £44,000 going to lose that benefit. Is that a lot of money, do you think, 44,000?
It's definitely not a lot of money, especially in the likes of London. Is absolutely not a lot of money at all, and that's the mum's money, so it's a tax on the mother, in my opinion.
People with that income, even though it's higher than average, still will feel that pinch, wouldn't they?
Yeah, of course they will, because at the end of the day, we don't know what goes on behind other people's doors. We don't know if that woman's getting any money off her husband, or if she has got a bill that she's got to pay and she doesn't want to bother her husband with it. But usually when you've got a £44,000 income, you've got a £44,000 mortgage, and that's your home. And if you're aspiring to earn a decent income, you shouldn't be penalised because you're trying to climb the ladder. £44,000 is literally 22 grand an adult, which if you put it in that way, it's not a lot of money at all.
Suppose the government had said, you know what, if that threshold was a lot high, say 100,000 a year, would you say then, okay, that would be more fair, or still would you say child benefit, that's a universal benefit and that's that principle we shouldn't touch?
No, I don't think you should touch universal child benefit because you're just causing more trouble. People don't like claiming benefits. So most people wouldn't actually claim child benefits. The best way to get it back is to tax the people on the higher income and take it out one hand and give it in the other.
This government wants a smaller state. That obviously means there's going to be jobs lost in the public sector. But the government says well, the private sector will compensate. What do you think is that realistic, do you think?
Definitely not realistic. We're standing in a park at the moment that's run by the voluntary sector. Now, voluntary sector's all great. We've been doing voluntary sector in Liverpool for as long as time, but you still have to pay for voluntary sector. There's still utility bills. Now, unless the likes of the utility bills are going to waive their fees and waive their bills and whatever, I can't understand why it's just got to be the people on the floor who've got to be, doing the voluntary sector. I think the big companies should be doing voluntary sector as well and putting their hands in the pocket. I mean, if he's talking about voluntary sector for the police or the NHS, that's just suicide, in my opinion. And there's going to be a lot of people going to suffer, especially where I am here in Liverpool. We've only just we're on a knife edge as it is anyway with the crime rate and the kids and the gangs and things. We're actually I am seeing a big difference in where I live for the gangs. But it's just going to be like Christmas for them if they think that the police are going to be cut and it's going to be some poor fella walking around with a yellow overall on and they're going to be the voluntary sector for the police force. It's just suicide. He's a liability.
Back to those private sector jobs, is it easy to find a job at the moment here?
Definitely not. I've been looking actually this morning, and the only jobs I could actually see were either out of Liverpool, which is not, I can't work out of Liverpool because I have to be back for the children, and the supermarkets, they're not even taking Christmas staff on at the moment, so it's really bleak. I mean, the job mart picked it up this morning, and last year it used to be quite thick. This year it's about 6 pages, and that's for the northwest, not just for Liverpool.
Now, this government of David Cameron is one of his big things since the election. The big society he's talked about a lot. Smaller states, state stepping back, volunteer organisations stepping in, basically. Is that going to work, do you think?
No, I don't see how it can work. I'd really like to see. I'd give it a chance to listen to him, but I can't see how it can work, because how can the big society step in? We've already got the big society. And now does that mean that we're going to have to have people running our museums for us, and we're going to have to have people running our libraries? It doesn't put food on the table, that, does it? So what are people meant to not eat, or they're meant to not live in their houses and go and live in a hostel because it doesn't pay the rent?
But what do you think of the idea of the big society, what he wants to create? Is that a nice ideal, do you think? Is that something you could agree with?
It's a lovely idea, but I think it's already happening. I mean, I know a girl who takes in pensioners like once a month, and she feeds them. She makes them a big pan of stew and takes them in. And I know girls who work in the hospitals and they're giving out the tea and the A&E. It's been going on for as long as time. It's a lovely idea and I fully support it. But I can't understand how we can make it any bigger than it already is. And a smaller state would be fantastic if we had decent jobs, more jobs and a living wage. At the moment, I mean, minimum wage, once you get minimum wage, and then you've got to take your bills out of it, and you've got to take your council tax out of it, and your housing benefits out of it, you know, paying your rent and stuff, you're literally left with about 20 pence. And I know that through friends who've worked. I mean, I've had single mums who are working, and they should be earning a decent wage. You get the money on the Friday, by the Sunday they've got no money at all, and they're borrowing again on the Monday. And it's not right. People should be paid for the work that they do.
The budget deficit is large though. Isn't it right to tackle that?
What's the rush? I'd like to know what the rush is, because in 1945 or 44, when we had the Second World War, we were 100% in debt, or we had a deficit of 100 GP. And we built the welfare state, and we built the NHS from scratch, and we made houses. And we only finished paying that debt 5 years ago. So what's the rush? What's the difference now? Why are we getting put in the same brackets as other people, and there's got to be done over 4 years? It hasn't got to be done over 4 years. This is the Tory government's way of hiding behind the cuts, because this their ideology, because they don't like the welfare state, they don't like the NHS, they want to make it private, because that's what they are. They're the Conservatives, but they're hiding behind it and think they've got the people fooled. And sadly, it sounds like they have, but I'm just hoping one day they wake up and smell the coffee, but I think by then it'll be too late.
You're very critical of the present government. Would a Labour government be very different, because they promised to take drastic steps to cut the deficit?
They did, and I'm under no illusion at all that they wouldn't have cut. But I know for a fact, I bet everything I've got on the fact that they wouldn't have done it as fast, and it wouldn't have been as vicious, and it would have been over a shorter time. Especially our new leader, he's the main one who didn't want to cut as fast, and he used the 1944 argument himself many a times. So I support the Labour government, if there was a Labour government, a hell of a lot more. I don't trust the Conservative government, I never have. I live in Liverpool and I've seen what they did last time. I remember what they did last time. I remember the pensioners dying on the hospital beds and under Thatcher, yeah. And I remember seeing pensioners going in the houses and all huddled over one bar on the electric. And, you know, I don't forget that in a hurry. So I don't trust them, and I never ever will.